Obviously, this video is going to feature Black Clover spoilers, so beware. With the threat of Lucius Zagratis, Black Clover's most terrifying villain looming in the background, it does seem that we are far away from the final battle or battles, as it's recently been confirmed that Asta, being in the Land of the Sun, is its own arc that is within the final saga of Black Clover, further proving that we are actually within Black Clover's final saga, not final arc. But I've had many ideas of how Lucius will be defeated by analyzing the source material, including my investigation of many clues left behind in Black Clover's light novels, including the fairly high possibility of Asta meeting Licht once again in a very similar moment of Ichigo meeting Old Man Zangetsu within his Zanpakuto. So if you are a massive Licht fan like me, you're really going to want to wait to the end of this video. Lucius Zagratis, the ultimate Wizard King or Wizard Emperor, has taken over. Nearly everything in Black Clover was according to his plan. Lucius planned the entire Spade raid in order for Lucifero to be defeated. Using his soul magic and time magic from his devil Astaroth, he would weave much of the Black Clover story together. Upon Lucifero's defeat, the second gate devil, Adramelech, would steal Lucifero's heart and deliver it to Lucius. Lucius would eat the first part of Lucifero's heart and absorb his power. He would then pull off a one-man army noob tube and solo the entire underworld. That's right, the Wizard Emperor Lucius Zagratis invaded the entire underworld by himself and won, including defeating Lucifero and absorbing the rest of his heart and taking the rest of his power. He would then go on to take all of the Qliphoth devils as well as possibly many other devils in the underworld, excluding Adramelech and his army, of course. Now, Lucius has all the magic power of the Devil King, as well as their magical abilities, time, space, gravity, and even taking the magical attributes of his siblings, Dante's body magic, Zenon's bone magic, and Vanica's blood magic. So yeah, just remember how strong Lucifero was. Well yeah, increase his power several times and give him time magic, soul magic, space magic, body, bone, and blood magic, and you got yourself a pretty big problem here. Lucius can use his soul magic to incarnate a devil inside of a human and then purify that devil power, turning them into paladins. Paladins being the intended true final form of humanity. Lucius wishes to rule the world as the Wizard Emperor and have full control of all magic on the entire planet. In this world, everyone is equal and nobody can die. This is because Lucius can bring back anybody from death. He's even referred to as a god by Morris after he brought him back. This has led many in the fandom to question, how in the hell are Asta and his allies going to be able to take down Lucius? How are they going to save the world by stopping him from, checks notes, saving the world? I don't know about you guys, but becoming a god, not being able to die, and living in a utopia seems pretty dope to me. But on the other hand, brainwashing and having a heroic tyrant might go south. I'll let you know in the future how this goes out for me. While I understand that Lucius has been built up to be this unstoppable threat, but it is my job to convince you that he may not be as unstoppable as you might think, as I believe I have found the way that Lucius will be defeated and how Black Clover is going to end. Storytelling, much like poetry or music, can often rhyme. Now I don't mean literally, of course, but in a thematic or symbolic way. This can mean characters paralleling other characters as callbacks. Now I will say that this theory is completely separate from what I really think is going to go on behind the scenes. It's separate, but it kind of goes in hand of how they might defeat Lucius. It's not required viewing, but I heavily suggest you watch my video, Black Clover's Deepest Rabbit Hole. Anyways, back to peak fiction. It is often in these types of narrative rhyming where it becomes easier to make accurate predictions of what's going to happen next in the series. There are actually a lot of parallels between the three antagonist groups of Black Clover's three different sagas. In part 1, the Elf Saga, the main villains are represented as the Third Eye, with Patri as their leader and the fourth member. This was paralleled in the Spade Saga with the Dark Triad. Dante, Vanica, and Zenon all parallel Raya, Vedo, and Fauna. This means that Patri and Lucius mirror each other, but it gets a whole lot deeper than this. Patri is someone who is the leader of the villain organization that shares a body with the soul of a Clover captain named William Vengeance. Lucius is the leader of the Paladins and shares a body with Julius Novachrono, the Wizard King of the Clover Kingdom and someone who was at one point a captain of the Clover Kingdom. This is already a very similar plot point between them, but do you see the rhyme? Let's keep going. Patri's very path was that of a unchosen destiny. Patri was just a helpless boy when he was attacked by the human royals and Zagrid. But his path was chosen, not by him, but by Zagrid, or possibly even higher entities. But Patri would be reincarnated into a body with William, and Patri would realize his path was to reincarnate his race, the elves. He believed that this was his heroic destiny, to awaken the elven souls trapped inside human bodies, and awaken them into their true form once more. Well, of course, Lucius Sagradas would hold a very similar path, one that he may not even have chosen for himself either. He was born disabled, bound to a wheelchair, sharing a body with Julius Novachrono. The two of them would have plenty of questions that could seem to be answered by binding the devil of time, Osteroth, to themselves, so that they did. And with the ability to use Osteroth's time magic, Lucius would look ahead to the future. In this future, he saw himself as the hero, the savior of the world, the Wizard Emperor. He would plan the downfall of Lucifero and the rise of his paladin army. Paladins being what he believed to be the true form of humanity, undying bodies. Two unlikely heroes, Lucius and Patri, sharing very similar predicaments, leading to nearly identical goals. And it seems that if Patri was a pawn all along for a devil, then Lucius really must be a pawn all along for... 私たちを倒すためにいろいろと考えていたんだな。もう少し私の力は封じられていく。素晴らしいよ、あなたたち。Anyways, what I believe is that because of how similar Lucius and Patri really are, we can look into how Patri was ultimately defeated and use this as a prediction for how Lucius will be defeated as well. As I said, since these characters rhyme with each other, the way they are defeated also should rhyme with each other. But first, let's get the main thing out of the way. The Patri versus Julius fight. One of the most amazing fights in Black Clover, and a pivotal moment in the series. This will need to be rhymed as well. Think of how important this fight is. Though, it needs to be flipped. Instead of Julius versus Lucius, we're going to need to swap the Soul Brothers. Instead of Patri, we'll get William. Instead of Julius, we'll get Lucius. Yeah, Lucius versus William Vengeance will add to the rhyme and the parallel. Is this finally how we'll get to see the Captain of the Golden Dawn shine? Well, yes and no. I think that William will fight against Lucius, but the fight won't go exactly the same. In the first fight, Yami rushed to the Clover Kingdom capital on his broom, but he did not make it in time. I think it'll be different in this scenario. Yami will rush over, and he'll make it before Lucius completely ragdolls William, and Yami and William will now team up against the man who possesses the body of their former master. Now you might be asking, Broku, Yami, even with all of William's magic power condensed into the Mistletoe Blade and doing a monozone full release combo spell with Noct, was only able to scratch a suppressed Lucifero. How in the hell is he going to fight Lucius? And William's fodder, what is he going to do against Lucius? Well, I actually think that William's going to play a pivotal role once more. Just like his magic was used in tandem with Licht and Asa to destroy the Node Nefesh reincarnation spell once and for all, and rid the elven spirits from the human vessels and return them to the afterlife, well, William may need to do this once more, and instead connect all the paladins to the tree by using a connection with Lucius and using Asa to negate the paladin form. But also, don't sleep on William. We don't know what William has been doing these past 15 months. Besides, if he does activate the Mistletoe Tree during the Holy War, this means that he's going to be actively stealing the magic and life of those he wishes on the battlefield. This means that William may absorb the magic power of an entire army of paladins and add it to his own, allowing him to be strong enough to fight Lucius. Furthermore, as I said, I believe that William will be teamed up with Yami, a Yami who has now interacted with Asta and his sister once more, and possibly the other members of the Ryuzen or even Ryu himself. Yami may have a massive power-up as well, not just from his training over 15 months, but also, I think that Yami may get a scroll, which will increase his magic power and give him access to his new spells, as well as possibly learning Zetten. So a scroll-empowered Yami with Zetten, yeah, I'm sure that if he fought alongside a William who's absorbing the power of countless paladins is a good matchup, but that's actually really discounting Yami's possible devil form. Remember, Yami does have a devil heart, so if Yami gets a devil form, damn, they may have a shot. But that could also turn Yami into a weapon for Lucius, as if Yami does have a devil form, it might be even easier for Lucius to turn Yami into a paladin, because then he wouldn't need to expend one of his own devils to incarnate inside of him. And actually, this sort of tracks. In the Elf Saga, William succumbed to Patri's reincarnation and he took over. We lost one of this rivalry to the other side. I think the same thing could happen here. In the middle of William and Yami actually starting to make some headway in their battle against Lucius, Lucius may well purify Yami's devil form and turn him into a paladin. I've long since been saying that a Devil Yami versus Black Bulls fight would be incredible. Give Yami bull horns, and it would have a lot of symbolism. Yami, the founder of the Black Bulls, the Black Bull, versus the Black Bulls that he founded. but this could still be somewhat granted if Yami gets turned into a paladin and he turns into a Black Bolt that gets purified, and then it would end up making more sense anyways and make him even more terrible. He would be way stronger, he'd be mind controlled by Lucius, and it'd also be really weird to see a holy or sacred form of Yami, because he seems to be the opposite of that, but still be pretty interesting to see here. Now, even though I think William and Yami versus Lucius will be a great fight, I don't see them being the ones to actually take the evil Wizard Emperor down. And I believe that Yuki Tabata has already foreshadowed how Lucius will truly be defeated. If we go back to the narrative rhyming, Lucius rhymes with Patri, so let's go back to how Patri was defeated in the Elf Saga. After it was revealed that Patri was a pawn of Zagrid, he would go berserk and rampage in the state of a dark elf. While Austin, were not strong enough to defeat Patri on their own, with the help of Nozel, they would bind him. Just as Nozel was going to execute Patri, Asta interjected and used his Demon Destroyer sword. As Asta placed the blade into Dark Elf Patri's chest, he was swarmed by anti-magic and transported into the soul space where Patri's soul resided. Actually, it was William's soul too. And while in the soul space, Asta would beat the ever-living shit out of Patri as well as chewing his ear out, leading to Patri coming to the realization which allowed him to return back into his regular elf form, turning Patri into an ally that would help to lead the defeat of Zagrid. Now let's analyze what Asta can do with his sword. He can ram it into someone, and he can overflow the area with anti-magic, which will allow Asta to enter their soul space of his opponent. Not only does this meet the narrative rhyme that needs to happen, but it also just makes perfect sense as a modality to defeat Lucius. Lucius has soul magic, 2 souls in 1 body, with one being his enemy, Julius Novachrono. Asta can enter the soul space. It is very likely that of all of the different anti-magic attacks that Asta can do, this would be the one with the best application towards Lucius specifically. So I think there will be a massive final battle against Lucius that will revolve around him getting bound, or at least held back, something similar to when the Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange attempted to steal the gauntlet from Thanos in Avengers Infinity War. In the Wizard Emperor's moments of vulnerability, Asta will ram the Demon Destroyer sword into Lucius's chest and try to enter his soul space like he did Patri. But I think Asta might run into an issue where Asta did this to Dark Elf Patri. He actually noticed that it took a lot of anti-magic power for him to enter his soul space. What if Lucius is too strong for Asta to do this? Well, luckily, Asta could likely just activate a Zeton and pair that Zeton with the Demon Destroyer sword, giving him the requisite power to enter the soul space of Lucius Zagratis. While in this soul space, just like William was in Patri's, Julius will be present. Though, unlike William, I really hope that Julius will be active. I know Lucius said that Julius is dead, but I just really doubt that. He also thought that Asta was dead, but look where that got him. Asta just got many times stronger and learned a brand new shiny technique that's likely going to help lead to his downfall. So yeah, I think that Julius will be inside of Lucius' soul space, and Asta will see the many past memories of Lucius, just like he saw with Patri. I'm sure this will lead to a conflicting moment for Asta. He will probably see a lot of the good that Lucius has done. Remember, Lucius does see himself as a hero, and he really is hoping that's all that he's doing will save humanity, make them equal, and make them immortal. But he'll probably see the bad things that Lucius has done as well, like being the true leader of the Dark Triad and causing the many different atrocities to the Spade citizens, like imprisonment, magic theft, physical abuse, and possibly even greater levels of abuse too. But also, on top of all of this, Asta may relate to Lucius. Seeing his memories, he'll see that they share a common goal, to become the Wizard King and the Wizard Emperor. Both Asta and Lucius are disabled as well. Asta is magicless, while Lucius was bound to a wheelchair. Both are devil hosts as well, and both want to reshape the class system of the world, which I believe will add some final touches to the symbolism that is Asta versus Lucius before they go into their final fight. But it's not going to be just Asta versus Lucius. I think it's entirely possible that it could be Asta and Julius versus Lucius. Lucius may have just cast Julius away, making him think that he killed him, when in reality, he was hiding in the soul space, and Julius teams up with Asta to fight his soul brother. It'd be really cool to finally see Julius and Asta fight side by side, especially considering the context of everything. Asta teaming up with his idol, who is also his goal, facing off against the shadow of his idol, who attempts to steal his goal. Furthermore, it'll add a lot of meaning to some of Julius's first words to Asta. When Asta saw Julius fight the Eye of the Midnight Sun, he said this is a fraction of the power you'll need to surpass to become Wizard King. Whether or not Julius actually saw a future of Asta fighting Lucius, or it's just the story rhyming again, but yeah, I think it's a way too convenient of how Lucius and Patri are walking on a very, very similar path, and their narratives rhyme with each other. Lucius is soul magic, and it just so happens that the very way Patri was defeated was by a soul-related power in Asta's Demon Destroyer sword. Also, considering that the Demon Destroyer sword is one of Asta's least explained swords, despite it arguably being the most powerful, if we go back to the explanation of the sword's ability, it severs cause and effect. When we first see it used against Father Orsi, Asta could not negate the poison magic on him with his regular anti-magic swords. That's because the magic had already blended into the bloodstream of Father Orsi. He was already poisoned. Baseline anti-magic would be useless. But Asta destroyed the magic, the cause, and severed it from its effect, the poison damage, healing Father Orsi. Maybe since Hino country likely has ties to dwarves, considering Charmy is the only dwarf we know in the series, and Hino has dolls that look like Charmy and are called Ochami dolls, and it's already a pretty heavily accepted notion in the fandom that it's likely that dwarves made Licht's swords, then maybe Asta will meet some dwarves that will tell him the meaning of the Demon Destroyer sword. So this makes it possible that Asta could expand the power of the swords, and he wouldn't bring in just himself into the soul world. Maybe the swarm of anti-magic would spread and take everyone inside of it into Lucius' soul world, meaning that we could have Julius meet with everyone once again, and we could have Asta and Yuno finally fight alongside the Wizard King, that is, until he dies, because I believe that Julius might actually sacrifice himself to save the world and defeat Lucius. This actually leads to one of the most interesting ways that I could think of for how Asta will defeat Lucius. I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and it's probably what you've all been waiting for, Licht coming back. Yeah, I do believe that it's a high possibility that Licht will return for the ending of the series. This is actually foreshadowed in Black Clover's light novel. In the first light novel, we get a very short story revolving around Noelle's training early in the series with her magic item, a brooch named Bruce. Bruce was a magic item that had been used for hundreds of years and had vast knowledge of the world. Bruce actually enlightens the audience of magic items. Bruce isn't just a soul trapped inside of a magic item. Bruce is the natural evolution of what a magic item is. See, magic items actually siphon a little bit of life energy from their wielders each time they use them. Over time, these magic items gain enough life energy to become sentient, and this is essentially what happened to Bruce. He'd absorbed so much life energy amongst many different wielders over the centuries that the lifeless Bruce became Bruce. This is important because if we think about important magic items in the series, we can immediately draw a connection to Asta and his swords. It's very likely that each of the demon swords are magic items, as in they were not sword magic creations by Licht, but instead, they were just magic items that Licht paired with his sword magic to make himself even stronger. Now, if these swords are magic items, then it makes it possible that there is something similar to the situation with Bruce going on inside of the weapons. What I'm thinking is that before a magic item becomes its own person and becomes sentient, it may have the different stores of life energy pooled inside of it, similar to Vestiges and My Academia within the One for All quirk. If Asta can ever realize this, which is possible if Asta does meet the dwarves anytime soon, Asta could meet the soul of Licht stored inside of the blade, with Licht giving him advice or even teaching him how to actually use the swords properly. It's important for me to remind you guys of Tabata's greatest influence on Black Clover, Bleach. In Bleach, there are spirits inside of Ichigo Zanpakuto, Zangetsu. This could make it a possibility that Asta will do a similar thing with the demon swords, and learn to actually master the proper way to use them. Though this might go beyond just Asta training with Licht, there could be the spirits of every previous wielder of the swords as well, giving Asta many different masters to learn from. Or there will be a combination of Licht and many of the previous wielders into one singular being, similar to Zangetsu being the combination of Hollow White, his Quincy powers, and the Shinigami powers, leading to a very interesting callback to Bleach and further inspiration to show from Yuki Tabata inside of his own series, Black Clover. So yeah, those are some of the ways I am seeing the final battle of Black Clover going. Now this would be the final true battle. Of course, I still believe that the actual real final battle of Black Clover will be Asta versus Yuno, but the stakes will be who's the Wizard King, not is this going to save the world. So I'm calling this the final battle as in it's an actual war. So today's video is sponsored by me and you, and that is the members of this channel. If you want to become a member of the channel, you get access to a bunch of cool different emotes and other rewards, but I want to tell you guys that the biggest thing I am doing now is that for all members, you'll be getting a exclusive member video every single week. If you become a Brigade Captain member, you'll get an extra video per month on top of those one video every single week. And all Wizard King level members will be getting 2 exclusive member videos per week. That is 8 to 9 videos per month at $15 a month, which is less than $2 a video. And that is also on top of other rewards, like you'll be getting access to the Wizard King Roundtable, which is a discussion I'll have with all of you guys every single month. So if you guys really want to help support the channel and you also want extra videos on the side besides my video projects I'm currently doing, then please become a member. You will get a lot of extra videos as well as helping support the channel. If you did enjoy, please let me know your thoughts of the video down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Join my Discord, and I hope you guys all have an amazing day. Peace out.